I have all of the questions and all of the answers of humanity all at once. My brain just does not work that way. I make lists.
Yeah.
Or actually, I want people to care about it.
Yeah.
And I think it's very hard to get people to care. Do you need some help?
Hang on.
It was like an exorcist moment.
Oh no.
And the whole room was just showered. Didn't I come across like really rude?
It's very people-y.
But it's deeply.
Yeah, so
it's quite hard work, really. Yeah. T-Rex arms. So the people who kind of fall through the cracks of the system, that is a pretty interesting one. Yeah, I would say that there are a lot of adults, isn't there, who kind of fall through the system with this because they, I suppose they can cope with daily life just enough to kind of pass through it. But, you know, as I suppose most people know, that your kind of autistic traits tend to worsen the older you get and then become a little bit more obvious. Maybe not with everyone, but you know, I think that's a thing. And so I suppose when you reach a certain age and now you're not coping anymore, you know, it's a big question mark, isn't it? Of why now?
Yeah.
Why are you not coping now? Where has this all suddenly come from? And I suppose then those kind of people look back and, you know, then suddenly see, actually, you know, I can see how I got to here. Looking now, I can see all of the traits that I had at school and but then I, you know, it's only now that I'm not coping with it. So, I'd say I know people who think that has happened.
I think there's a lot. That's why we've seen such an increase now with adults looking for a diagnosis, because they have been able to spot. And I still know people, I still hear this topic all the time where people say, well, that wasn't a thing when I was younger. It's like, no, it was. It was definitely there, but it wasn't recognised. It wasn't kind of given as a formal kind of a label, a name. It wasn't kind of identified that way. But people still had the same issues and obstacles and all of that.
Yeah, that's it. Well, I suppose because it was less, people were less aware of it.
Yeah.
That it was easy for them to dismiss it as other things, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And even now it still gets dismissed, doesn't it? A lot of the time it's anxiety and depression. It's the big two. Depression probably more so in adults and anxiety in children. Yeah, so I think there's still a way to go. Well, because there will be the people that slip through the cracks. Because I can see it in my little boy at times, and think we probably should actually start that journey and have it looked into.
It's a long journey.
Because you don't want him to slip through the cracks.
Yeah, it'll be easy to do, won't it? So yeah, be wise.
Yeah, so I guess it's like masking, isn't it? A lot of it through life, just trying to.
Yeah, he's very good at that. So he's still very good at being able to do that and make it look like, no, I'm fine, it's all right.
Yeah.
And I think even I learned to do that when I was a kid. You learn to people please, like teachers, parents, other adults around you, where you might be sitting there wondering and having those kind of anxious feelings, and then you get asked, and you're like, no, I'm fine, it's all right, I'm okay. And then in your own head, or when you're alone, you can then try and process that. That's what I always found I was doing.
Okay, yeah.
So you slipped through the cracks.
I slipped through the cracks. Yeah, definitely. Several people have told me, and I said last time, I would put money on it if I went through the process of doing it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
You get these online test questionnaires, don't you? I've never looked at one, but
I did not. I did after the last time we met.
Okay.
How did it go?
It said very high traits. Yeah, I can't remember the wording it used, but the score was very high to indicate that. Yeah.
Awesome.
I should probably have it looked into.
Have you done one?
I haven't. No, I kind of looked at some of the questions, but literally only the first couple because I was supposed to be doing something else at the time. I can't remember. But no, it'd be interesting to
Yeah, it was one of those that I like you mentioned, I was feeling like I could cope and get through life and just kind of found ways to deal with it and those situations. on the whole, I think there are probably still moments, but yeah, because of that, that's why I had never looked into kind of seeking a diagnosis.
Yeah, well, you become kind of clever with it though, don't you? And you kind of build your whole world around the things that you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
And then you can sail through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I said that before, talking about to people about anxiety and how, whether or not that ever leaves you as an adult. And because a lot of anxiety, or go almost all of it, starts in childhood. That's kind of where it comes from, either through fears or not being the kid that wants to stand on stage and talk to an audience full of your parents.
Yeah.
That would have terrified me as a child. And for a long time, even as an adult, I wouldn't do public speaking and things like that. But I'd learnt to kind of do it, and I wasn't sure if actually I'd got over the anxiety. I don't think I have. I still get sweaty palms when I know that I'm going to do it, but I just don't do it very often. And that's the easiest way. Avoid it. And as an adult, you get far more option and choice to do that.
Yeah.
So do you think that it's good that you've learned to be able to do those things, or do you think that it's terrible the fact you've had to?
No, I think it's good that I learned to be able to do it. Certainly the public speaking thing, there were several things that I'd recognised myself, and I had always pinned it down to anxiety, that I wanted to change, and that was one of them. To be able to actually stand in a room full of people and actually be able to talk and not get the quivering voice and the sweaty hands of just wanting to run away and have the world swallow you up.
Oh.
So to be able to get through that definitely was a good thing.
Yeah.
Your dream holiday destination. I can manage to see that.
That's the most random thing. Okay. Where is it? Your dream holiday destination? Rome.
Yeah, nice.
Never been. Would love to go.
Yeah.
Lots of art. Lots of fabulous stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
I took my daughter to Rome a few years back. Actually, it was 2020 lockdown.
Yeah.
You do a lot of travelling, don't you?
I like to think so. But yeah, Rome was amazing. We went there for a week. Like you say, the architecture, the art, and everything is just absolutely
brilliant.
Absolutely amazing. You've been to Rome.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And the other thing was that there's all the things you want to go and see that everybody else does as well, so it's very people-y.
I bet it's people-y.
Yeah,
so it must be quite hard work, really.
It can be at times.
Yeah.
I kind of hit it right because obviously being locked
down. Yeah.
And no one wanted to go to Italy because they had really high cases, and they were like ignoring all the rules. So it's like it was just dead. There's hardly anyone there whatsoever.
Wow, nice.
So we were kind of really lucky, but everything was open. Vatican City was open. Everything was open, so you could go around and look and enjoy everything.
Yeah.
Anyway, especially about your job. We just teased you now because you want to go.
We don't want to go. Yeah, my mum's been a few times and it always looks lovely. So yeah, that's a place I'd like to go. I'd also like to go to Belgium. You done Belgium?
I haven't, and that's next on my list.
I have many years ago. Yeah, Bruges.
Oh,
That was a long
nice,
time ago.
Yeah.
That's very...
Well, my family are from Antwerp, near Antwerp, and so I kind of wanted to go and see where my family are from, and because I have a very famous artist as well in my family, so I really would like to go and see kind of all of that sort of Netherlands way. I think that he kind of ended up. So I'd quite like to go and see the history of all of that malarkey. So
yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
You're not one for laying on the beaches in the hot sun.
No, I like history.
Yeah,
I like to go and learn something. I think
Yeah.
I have a problem, don't I? Here, so it seems to be a running tap.
I like doing that. I went to Amsterdam not long ago, and seeing how easy it was to get there, and you go through Brussels and think, oh, it's so easy to get there. So we went on the train, but that was brilliant to go to the Van Gogh Museum.
Oh, amazing.
The Rijksmuseum, so that was good.
Amazing.
Yeah, I'm not one for laying around on beaches or sitting in hotels. I'm up at the crack of dawn at like 5:30 in the morning to catch the sunrise. And that'd be me straight down there and finding adventure. Yeah, there's so many things to do, and you just miss it all if you just sit there laying around, just baking yourself.
So I try and explain that to people when they want to go get a tan. It's like you are just cooking yourself. That's all that happens.
How very literal.
Yeah, I know. That'll be a recurring thing.
Amazing.
So yeah, any other places up in Europe? You're on there. How far afield would you go?
I don't know, actually. That's a really difficult question. I haven't done a lot of travelling, really. I never was really interested in it before. Now I would say I am more so. But yeah, I'm not sure if I have like dream destinations, really. Because it's a lot of travelling and it's really tiring. And I am not very good at all the changes, I suppose. My mum is often wanting me to come on holiday to Spain with her, and I can't quite face it. I don't know why. Just I've got a bit of a block there of getting out of my normal routine.
Yeah,
that old chestnut. Yeah.
Set in the ways. Yeah. That, again, I think that's one of those things that stopped people recognising historically with autism and neurodivergence. That's just who they are. That's how he is, and that they wrote it all off as that. I think a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But it's very easy to get stuck in your routines, and it's even easier to rationalise to yourself that actually that's the best thing for you. I do that a lot.
Yeah, that's it.
Your children's schooling challenges.
Oh, God.
Because you've got 2 young boys.
I do.
And how old are they roughly?
Well, I've got a 10-year-old and a 14, so he's not quite so young anymore. But yeah.
Sorry, just smart myself in because I said roughly. It's like, this is
Roughly.
Thing, I'm not quite sure. I just pluck a few numbers out there.
Yeah. Oh, where to begin with that? That's been one of the most stressful times of my life, I think, and it's still going on, really. I suppose less so. But I guess it kicked off with my 14-year-old because he started secondary school, and that was where he really struggled, and that was it for him. He was another one who muddled through primary school. He managed to get obviously into secondary. We had a few issues with him in primary school, but on the whole, he was doing just fine.
Yeah, that's good.
But in all honesty, looking back now, I feel like perhaps his teachers overlooked a lot of stuff, which makes me a bit cross. But, you know, that's in the past now, it's not a lot I can do. But yeah, so it was when he hit secondary school that it really started to go downhill for him. He wasn't coping. All of the classroom changes, the huge range of other kids and new kids and how rotten kids can be. I don't think he was quite prepared for how horrible people are.
Yeah.
And, you know, and also the severe lack of support for him. It took me over a year to get him on a one plan because they kept telling me that he didn't need it, or they would say, we don't do that here. Yeah. And so I was fighting, and then eventually when I finally got him one, it was so crap that I had to go in for loads more meetings to say, well, you've missed off all of these things here that he needs. And I would say to them, how are you going to put these in place? What goals are we going to be, you know, doing here for him so that we can make sure they're all recorded, ready for me to start his EHCP process? And they were just like, well, we don't do that. Or he doesn't need that, or, you know, it was just loads of nonsense fobbing me off the whole time. For parents' evening, I would talk to all his teachers and none of them even knew that he was going for his diagnosis. None of them knew that he had any issues or problems. So nobody's reading, you know, his one plan. Nobody's communicating his problems. So every day it was something new until he started to become a refuser. And so in the end, I just took that plunge and pulled him out of school. And it was a huge decision for me. And, you know, and I feel very selfish saying that was a decision for me because really it was a decision for him. But I think taking that step is a big thing because then it's not just his life that impacts, even though, you know, it's, you know, those things shouldn't really come into it. And in the end, they didn't. And I'm glad that I made that decision for him. But even since then, even though we've had like online schooling with like EdPlace and such other things, you know, kind of since then, since he's got his diagnosis and such, and I've started his EHCP process, you know, I've found that the LA have just not been helpful with getting his education sorted, saying, well, you decided to pull him out of school, so therefore it's all on you. And so that has taken me over a year to be able to get him any sort of support with his tutoring and things. And now I think, you know, although he's doing very well now, he's, you know, 14-year-old boy. doesn't get motivated very easily.
Yeah.
And so, you get replaced with a whole new set of problems at each stage, Then my youngest began struggling at school when he hit year 5-ish. I mean, he's had struggles throughout. It seems like every other year we've had a really dodgy teacher.
Yeah.
We've had some really amazing ones who've given him the support that has been just second to none, but then we've also had really rubbish ones who've completely humiliated him in the class for his issues and anything that he's kind of struggled with, or things haven't been put in place. But everything really came to a head when he hit year 5, because he's been, there was like several Senkos as well with that school, so we've had to kind of relearn all the things, and then finally the Senko was saying, well, we're thinking of taking him off his one plan now because the teacher can manage his needs in class. And I was just like, don't you dare take him off that one plan, because I need that evidence and I need this, that and the other. And I was furious. It just goes to show kind of the lack of, I'm not even sure, because I wouldn't want to say lack of knowledge, because they go through these trainings. So what else is it? Lack of care?
Yeah.
It could be so many things, couldn't it? And in the end, he's so riddled with anxiety now that he wasn't able to cope, so I've pulled him out as well. So now I've got 2 homeschooled boys waiting for their EHCPs, and we've got no end in sight at the moment with any of that support, because they just they have needs that they can't get met until they get this EHCP, and so it's just a huge waiting game. And obviously with that as well, getting stumped at every single hurdle. We've been through tribunal for both of them. It's never ending. It's so stressful.
I take it they're responding much better to. Is it yourself homeschooling, or?
Luckily now they've got tutors, because I fought the LA and it took so long to get it, but I went all the way up to the Ombudsman, and then now they've both got tutoring. But it's still a struggle, because the online schools that they offer still won't. I'm not sure quite the the right way, but the support there is still a massive lack of understanding or willingness to kind of put the things in place that are needed.
So the tutors are actually online?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's a good idea. It's a really good idea, and it's very helpful for them to still be able to kind of interact. But it's not there yet, shall we say. Yeah.
A good move forward. Getting them out of school, and now obviously they're applying themselves to the lesson. So
yeah, it is a good move forward. It is, definitely. But it's a shame that we have to do that.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah, that's something that shouldn't have to be done.
Yeah. This whole thing shouldn't be this hard, because it doesn't need to be. My boys are, relatively easily managed. It shouldn't be this difficult.
Yeah.
Okay, so the lack of adult support challenges. So I suppose it's people falling through the cracks, but it's also people reaching a certain age where the support just drops off.
Right, yeah.
Because obviously your EHCP only lasts until you're 21, I believe. And then after that, you kind of cut loose. I think you can get some support, can't you, from like social services and such, but essentially, there's a lot of kind of issues surrounding some autistic people not being able to kind of take care of some basic needs, but not quite enough that they need to have 24/7 support. So what about those people who are in between, the people who struggle to pay their bills on time, or or are unable to kind of clean their houses, I suppose, just like silly little things that actually we kind of take for granted, I suppose, but it's actually a mountain for some people. And that even small things, I say small, they're not small to some people, but, things like that, really do take a toll mentally.
Yeah.
And I think that can help contribute to going downhill very quickly, really, if you can't kind of cope with the everyday.
So with social services, have they got anything in place at the moment, really much, or was it one of them?
I think the trouble with that is the wording that's used a lot, and it's kind of how much it impacts your daily life. Now, I don't think I could actually answer that question. I don't have a formal diagnosis, but if I had one and then was asked that question, how much does it impact? It's like, well, I don't actually know.
You need kind of like an assessment, but the assessments that they do have are so non-specific.
Yeah.
And obviously everyone's situation is so slightly different that it makes it really hard, doesn't it, to put it in
we like to pigeonhole into this box, and that's very, very hard anyway, let alone, with neurodiversity.
Yeah. Well, I kind of found that even with the diagnosis process, when they say to you, have you found this, this and this? And it's like, no. But actually, if they frame that slightly differently, or perhaps with an example, then you can think, oh my God, I didn't know this was even a thing.
Yeah.
So, everything needs a massive overhaul, really, doesn't it?
It's like that questionnaire done online, and it was sometimes you have to actually try and work out that question, rearrange it in your head as to what that might actually mean. Because it's like, do you like social situations? It's like, well, sometimes I do. It depends on the people that I'm there with.
Yeah.
But if I was given the choice, and sit at home in comfort of my own home, or go out, then I'm going to stay at home. And I think that's why there's not much support. 'Cause it's like, well, you could decide not to go shopping when it's busy. It's solved. It's like, well, no, that's not quite the case, because that means I have to give all of the leeway. And I think that's the world.
Yeah, well, that's it. And I think where some people can be very literal, which I am quite guilty of most of the time, when somebody says to you, do you do this or this, that, and then you're like, no. But it could be slightly off, couldn't it? Or it could be like you say, in a certain situation this happens, but not anymore, because I've now changed my world to make that not so. So I don't know. Yeah.
I think some of the problem with support as well is because it's the people who are not autistic and really don't know much about it are the ones making the rules, ones building support, where they probably really need to listen to people who have autism and find out the real direction of the support, what's needed, and build some packages or whatever.
Exactly that.
Yeah, I think we're behind the times on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how you speed it up.
Well, not cutting the services.
That would be it. Carry on. Keep going.
Yeah, that's a tough one, isn't it? But it is, to me, that's half the problem, is the decisions not made by the right people.
Yeah.
Favourite cuisine and your biggest cooking disaster? This is so... You've got some really random ones in here.
This one I'm showing the spicy fish.
I wondered why you were asking me about food. Yeah, spicy fish. Well, it's definitely not spicy fish. It's not my favourite. My favourite is spaghetti bolognese.
Huh?
Absolute favourite. Biggest cooking disaster? I don't know if I even have one, actually.
No?
I don't know if anything really that exciting has ever happened.
Would I bake a cake and it just turn out like a rock or anything?
No. Not that bad. Nothing that's an actual good story to be telling right now.
First one I had was I left the hob on once. Completely forgot. I just left that on. And it's probably been an hour or two. And then my wife was doing something in the kitchen and she put a cardboard box, an empty cardboard box onto the cooker. I thinking that it was going to be on. And then, we had to put that fire out. So.
Yeah, actually, now you've kind of said that, situation. I think, where I bring in my Tesco shop, and you get those big old crates, and I've put them on the top of the hob. I've turned the hob on with that by mistake before, and then I've ended up kind of melting things. But I'm not sure that counts as a disaster, really. But
consequence of.
No, have you got one then? Is that why you were thinking of that?
I've probably got loads. My wife just She just about keeps me away from the cooking side, really. It's really 50-50. It can come out great, or it could just be the biggest waste of money and disaster ever.
Oh dear.
It's either like uncooked chicken. Yeah, done that a few times. But it looked good.
Yeah.
It looked nice on the plate. Until it's sort of fumes and they appear from underneath. But no, yeah, I'm best just to leave cooking. She's an excellent cook, I must admit. So, yeah.
Yeah, get that in there. Good compliment.
Yeah.
On camera. Yeah.
Oh, she knows it. She knows it. What was this one?
Do you need some help?
Ah, there you go. Tell I'm sure it's happening. It's getting further and further away from me. Trying to finally get a little focus on it. Yeah, the process of diagnosis and the timeframes.
Right. So I thought actually my diagnosis was quite quick, really, in the scheme of things, because I had mine during lockdown, and I don't know whether that's made any difference, because I bet actually lots of people got diagnosed during lockdown, but mine was quite quick, only a matter of a few months. So I can't really, that's definitely a big positive for me. My children, on the other hand, have taken ages. And first of all, they lost all the notes of my littlest as well, so it took doubly as long. So, yeah, I mean, I suppose in the grand scheme of things, we were quite lucky because it took probably just over a year. And I know that things are a lot worse now because they got their diagnosis maybe, I don't know, a good few years ago now. Yeah. So really, I shouldn't moan because actually we were quite lucky with how long that took, but it shouldn't take that long.
No, absolutely. Because obviously people's educations and lives have been destroyed in the process of all this waiting time, especially education of the youngsters.
Yeah, their mental health is just rapidly declining during that time because they just, without that diagnosis, you can't kind of move forward. I mean, you can get things put in place in schools anyway, but it almost feels like they don't believe you until it's, until you get that diagnosis.
Yeah, I can imagine. So what's the sort of time frame now, do you think? Any idea?
Well, I've heard that it's around it could be, because I think we touched on this before, didn't we? Ever between 2 to 4 years?
So I think
something like that. I
can't remember if it was actually on an official website, somebody else pointing out, but I think in Essex it was 4.5 years, so 4.5 years.
And that's the average for here?
Yeah.
Wow.
Whether that was for children or adults,
I can't remember.
Don't know, yeah. So, but that was definitely a number on there. I remember hearing somebody speak at one of our conferences, I think it's Anna, and she was saying actually for adults it was closer to 7-8 years for some people that were waiting that long to get from starting the process to then getting diagnosis.
It has suddenly done a huge jump over the last few years. It's become, it was ridiculous anyway.
Yeah.
And now it's almost out of reach, really. People are going to be, kids are going to be finished school by the time they get there.
Yeah.
And so it'll just be...
Get the help at that side, but during the most formative years, it wasn't there. And I think, there'll be a big knock-on effect of that.
Agreed.
So when do you think the most challenging years are for someone with autism? Does that really vary, or people find it more difficult at a younger age, or...?
Yeah, it varies. It must vary because I suppose it depends on your own experience, doesn't it? And it depends on your surroundings, and it depends on, whether you've got an understanding family or an understanding school, or, whether or not you have a particular set of difficulties, or, I think it would, I don't think I could even guess.
No, fair enough.
Yeah. It's tough.
Your journey through primary and secondary school?
I don't remember very much of my schooling because memory like a sieve, but I do remember feeling very different, I think, from everybody, and that became more and more obvious as I got older. But it was never my thought that I was autistic. I remember having a joint birthday party with one of my friends, and she must have been neurotypical because we decided that we were going to make a mixtape each. and she had done all of the latest hits and this, that, and the other, and I didn't know a single song. And when I put mine on, I'd completely embarrassed myself because I had all old stuff. I was a big Elvis fan. I mean, I must have been primary school. Big Elvis. Who the hell is a big Elvis fan when they're like in primary school? And I loved all of the old. I mean, it must have been probably because I was influenced by my parents and all the things that they liked as well. But yeah, I've got 2 older sisters, so you'd have thought perhaps maybe, you know, more popular things so it would have been, but no. So everyone was just looking at me like I was a lunatic. So yeah, looking back, I do have glaring traits. But at the time, that was just how I was. Well, you know, I was always fine academically. I managed to muddle through everything, and I think that was what it was. I muddled through everything just enough to kind of get through what I needed to. But yeah, I didn't have necessarily a huge problem. I mean, I was quite bullied at secondary school, and I had to move schools. But I'm not sure that I can say is a unique experience really for my autism, but could be just because I was a weirdo.
Was there any support in place at this when you
No. In all honesty, I don't think that I don't think autism was even in my vocabulary at that time. So you know, support wise, I don't think I kind of. I say I didn't need it, but perhaps I'd have done better if I had it.
Yeah.
Because I coped just enough to get through it, but perhaps I'd have done really well if it was available.
Okay.
I don't know.
Just where your further education came from afterwards, then when you could do it in your time, your choices, your subjects?
Could be. Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
I've always wanted to do a degree, but I have no idea what I do it in.
So, too much choice now.
Yeah. I do this with languages. I want to learn different languages, but there's so many different languages I want to learn, and I can't just focus on one. The system.
Yeah, I think I'd like to learn another language, and the last time I tried it was hard, so I stopped.
It is hard.
It was harder than I expected, and I lost interest then.
Yeah, you've got to be good at that. I had it straight away, haven't you? Otherwise, it's just lose interest.
Yeah, and that is this. I was rubbish at French at school anyway. Absolutely dreadful. And I think when I was younger, when I heard like the UK was giving Hong Kong back, for instance, I thought, what a prime opportunity now to learn Chinese, because that's going to be. They're going to want so many translators here because there's going to be a huge influx of Chinese people moving to the UK, which there was, and they were screaming out for translators, but I still haven't got past learning how to count 1 5.
No, that's good. The language is probably the hardest one to learn.
Your interests and hobbies.
I mean, that's a big one.
Right, interests and hobbies. I'm going to sound really, really boring now, because my interests and hobbies are doing business things. Yeah. I'm learning. Yeah, how incredibly boring. So, yeah, I suppose I love organising. Oh my God, I'm not making this sound any better. I like organising my businesses. I like... when I started doing more drawing, when I got more into the fine art side of things, I was like, right, this is going to be just a hobby, and I'm going to just do this for pleasure. Did I hell? Yeah, because now, obviously I started this project, and now it's going to end up being a charity. Oh my God, there's something seriously wrong with me, I think. But yeah, I kind of enjoy the development side of things, perhaps, or the organisation, or kind of just bringing things. I don't think I can even quite put my finger on it, but I like to develop everything as far as it'll go.
Have you got anything, maybe things just help you relax once you get home and you just want to, kids gone to bed and you just want to relax? Do you have any?
My diary out. All my lists. Yeah. Sometimes I watch telly. But then I'm usually doing something else because I can't ever do just one thing. I have to have about 3 things on the go. Otherwise, I can't concentrate on one.
Yeah.
But I never stop. Never.
So lists.
I think there's some room for list therapy, I'm starting to think. Group list therapy. We can make their lists and leave nice and calm.
Love lists. Yeah. Lists are great, but they can be really overwhelming as well.
Yeah, I'm good at making lists. I'm not very good at reducing them.
Well, you need a list so you don't forget everything, but then they're really long.
Yeah.
And then that's it. Can't do the list.
Got to break it down again then.
Yeah, smaller lists. Everything in manageable chunks.
What things do you list then? What is it? Outside, if it's not to do with work.
It's usually to do with something work related.
Okay.
Yeah, or things, because I've got a whole book that's just lists. And so I have like a section of things that I need to organise at home. I have a section of things that I need to organise for the kids. I have a section of work stuff or art stuff or general things I need to be doing. The lists are not exhaustive. I will find something to list. I find it relaxes me, I suppose, with making sure that I've got it. If it's written down, I can't forget it.
Yeah.
And it just kind of helps to organise my brain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's more of a therapy thing.
Maybe it is, yeah.
Yeah, probably
so.
Because do you ever go back on their lists and reread them, recheck them, reread them?
Yeah, I try to. I try to go back and cross things off, but then every week I make a new one because otherwise it just starts to look too messy. So I need to redo the list and I put the things that I haven't done yet on that list.
And then add to it.
Or I forget about the list and I make a new list.
Okay.
Because sometimes I have to reorganise the layout of the list. Because otherwise I go list blind. And I don't recognise the list anymore as something that's going to help me function. So then I'll need maybe a new pad or something to then reorganise the way that I've shaped it, and then it'll grasp my attention again. And then I'll be able to work through it again, but then I shall have to do that again very soon.
That's fantastic. I actually love that one.
It's a bit bonkers, isn't it?
No, that's great. I can see the therapy behind it for sure. I don't know how to do something like that.
It's a way of ordering, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm very much on things like things got to be very particular in orders for me for certain things. Not everything. But yeah, there are certain things. Not lists, I'm afraid. No.
Oh,
I'm not a list.
You're missing out.
I
feel quite sorry for you.
I don't even like the shopping list because I'll just put rubbish on it.
Yeah, I have
just
to.
Don't need.
I have to with shopping.
Write the list. Nothing else would be bought other than what's on that list.
That's all I do. The thing I normally do is like, I'm going to go to the shop because we need some bread. And then I'll get given a list of different things I have to go and get, and the one thing I forget to buy is bread. The very reason I was even going to a shop, I do that so often that I have to make a list. So as soon as I start saying, we need this, wait, on the list. On the phone.
If I deviate from my shopping list, then everything's going to go in that basket. So I have to just buy what's on it, because the minute I start, I'll just have some of them, I'll just do that, and then that'd be it. It just keep going in.
Those are the fun bits, though, aren't they? If you have something you don't usually have, then it just kind of brightens up your week.
All it does is fill my cupboards. If I've ever fancied this or fancied that, I'll buy it, and then I won't open it. I'll just go in the cupboard because I actually won't now fancy it. So that'll just sit there, and they'll end up loads of stuff building up, and then I'll just keep putting the bin in its horrendous way. So I just don't do it anymore.
No deviations.
I wonder if you need to revisit that online test. There's been an awful lot of things that have come up for you today.
Bravery of history, this train is racing straight ahead. No man can do like I can. I'm the queen of the land.
Nation. Yeah.
The land.